Welcome back, Trailblazers. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk about a tool that has completely transformed the way I plan and navigate my hikes, AllTrails Plus. As a Trailheads Ambassador and the organizer of the Yakima Valley Trekkers, I'm out on the trails a lot. One of my favorite features of AllTrails Plus is the ability to edit and create my own maps. Conditions change, fallen trees, washed out sections, or even a last-minute reroute. And with AllTrails Plus, I can adjust my route on the fly and share it with others so everyone stays informed and safe. AllTrails Plus also gives you offline maps, wrong turn alerts, and 3D trail previews to help you stay on track and make the most of your adventure. And the best part, you can get 30% off an AllTrails Plus membership with my exclusive link in the episode show notes. So whether you're planning your next big trek or just looking for a new trail to explore, AllTrails Plus has you covered. Check it out and let's hit the trail. Welcome to Season 12 of the Hikes and Mics podcast. I'm your host, Ivan, and each week we're hitting the trail through conversations with extraordinary hikers from across the United States and beyond. Fall is one of those magical times to be outdoors. The air is crisp, the trails are lined with golden leaves, and every step feels like an invitation to slow down and soak in the season. This year, I've had the privilege of sitting down with hikers who bring the same richness to their stories. From through hikers reflecting on lessons learned, to everyday adventurers chasing larch season, and finding peace on quiet trails, their voices remind us that the outdoors isn't just about reaching summits. It's about connection, reflection, and discovery. So lace up your boots, grab your favorite warm drink for the trail, and get ready. Season 12 is here, and the conversations ahead are as colorful as the fall landscapes we love. In this week's episode, we sit down with Erin, Central Washington hiker, contemporary landscape artist, and the creative force behind Nuwave Gallery, whose journey blends trail time, faith, and art in a way that feels both grounded and expansive. She shares how hiking pulled her away from the computer and into a decade-long art career, how plein air painting taught her to embrace imperfection, and how moving from Seattle to Ellensburg opened up a softer, quieter kind of beauty in the hills around Monastash Ridge. We dive into her evolving style, including her signature breaking the borders technique, painting snowboards back to life, teaching watercolor and alcohol ink classes, and her upcoming 2026 group trip through Yosemite, Big Sur, and Three Rivers. Without further ado, let's jump into this episode with our guest, Erin. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Hikes and Mics podcast. I have a really exciting guest with me today and her lovely trail companion, Riley. Her name is Erin. She is a hiker and artist based out of Central Washington. She's going to be sharing about her hiking experiences as well as the art that she's been creating from those journeys. Erin, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We always like to start off by having our guests share a little bit about themselves and how they got started hiking.
My name is Erin. I got started hiking in college. So my background is I'm a visual and product designer. So I was in design school and I worked for companies like Nordstrom, PicMonkey, Shutterstock. And in those years, during college and post-college, I found myself feeling like I was on the computer all the time. And so I was looking for some hobbies that kind of got me off the computer. And I had a couple friends who were into hiking. One in particular just decided that I was going to be her hiking friend. So I got some boots at an REI garage sale and I just kind of started hiking. Simultaneously with that, all of my design school friends had some sort of artsy background also. So what we would do is we would take little watercolor sets onto our hikes and we would paint what we saw while we were out hiking. So that's kind of how the painting started. I didn't really paint much before then. And then I started getting really into hiking. We live in Washington. It's such a beautiful state. And I also started painting larger and larger paintings, and people actually started buying them, people that I didn't know. And I was like, maybe I'm onto something. So over the next 10 years, while I was working as a designer for these larger corporate companies, I was selling art and getting myself into coffee shops breweries, eventually a couple galleries, and just getting bigger and bigger and experimenting with different styles. My subject matter is mostly mountains. I also do some abstracts, but it's pretty much all nature inspired.
And we're actually here in your art studio. There's a couple pieces that you've been creating. For folks that are new to your art, how would you describe it and what's been the inspiration lately for you?
So I would say with my design background, there's a lot of modern elements in my work. So I would say like contemporary landscapes and oceanscapes. There's a term in the art world also called sublime. I don't know if you've heard of sublime art. Art that reflects a sense of awe. The more famous sublime artists, like awe can mean like wow, grandeur, beauty. It can also mean terror. So there can be some like creepy sublime art out there. The most famous works or ones that I'm drawn to in the sublime category are the ones that were actually used to bring people over to the Americas. So artists would paint like, look how beautiful the United States is, or whatever it was called at the time. And it was these just like large open skies, huge valleys. And so obviously like it did kind of look like that, but I think what sublime art does best is kind of just evoke these feelings and sense of wonder and awe. So that's a category I would maybe put myself into.
And you kind of shared that in college, it was a group of friends that went on hikes and you took watercolors. Was there a specific trail here in Washington that kind of sparked your love of incorporating and intertwining hiking and your art?
I wouldn't say there was a specific trail that started that. I remember early on hiking Mount Catherine up near Snoqualmie Pass. That one was like a pretty easy one, 360 views at the top and really beautiful. I remember climbing and painting there in particular. There's a lot of spots at the top to kind of spread out and relax and paint. But I mean, for the most part, most of my painting like is done here at home just because I've gotten much larger in scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been able, and we'll show it here in a bit, but the snowboard that you did, your first snowboard, right?
Yeah. So I love to paint. I just always need to be making something. And I'm actually a skier. I wish I was a snowboarder. I think they look really cool, but I ski. I got access to like a couple leftover snowboards that people had donated. They were unable to ride them anymore. So I was like, what if I take this and turn it into a piece of art? I want to do more of that. I think the goal with painting snowboards moving forward is to essentially give something a second life, like something you love. I love the snowboard. I got to ride it many years. It just doesn't really work for me anymore. I could still keep it and hang it on my wall and like turn it into something beautiful. And it still carries those memories, but it also reflects something new and different now.
Yeah. And you've been able to show through your art different landscapes from across Western United States and Canada. Is there a particular landscape that you enjoy? Because right now we're recording here in Central Washington, which is completely different from regular Western Washington or what people think of the Evergreen State.
I mean, I like to paint anything and everything. I think I lived in the greater Seattle area for 15, 20 years. So I just painted that because that was where I was hiking. And I'm from Canada, so I'd paint Canadian landscapes. I do a lot of commissioned work, and that's kind of my bread and butter. So if people have a favorite place, I'll paint it. I've painted like Mount Etna in Italy, the Dolomites. So just kind of, I'll paint anything. I think it's easier for me to sell art here. People connect with and resonate with this local landscape. So I paint that because I love it. It is interesting though that you mentioned living in Central Washington. I moved here 5 years ago from like downtown Seattle, and I have started painting this area also, obviously just because I'm always in it, and it's different. It's almost like a softer, quieter beauty rather than like the majestic grand peaks of the Cascades.
And I was telling you on the drive over, we caught like just a spectacular sunset. I think Central Washington is known for, especially with the rolling sagebrush hills.
Yeah.
Is there any local area landscapes that have captivated you since you moved over?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure how I'd feel about it or like how much hiking I could do, but my current favorite trail, I guess, is Monastash Ridge. It's about 10-15 minutes from here, so I can do it almost every day. I do it as much as I can. There's lots of different routes and like mountain bike trails too. You can go up and down, you could do a loop. So that has become my favorite trail and landscape and kind of just place to be and think, just because it's so accessible and I can really see it change when you're going somewhere so often. You can see it change throughout the year and really appreciate it more.
Yeah, I love Monastash Ridge. It gives you a little bit of a workout to get to the summit, but well worth it with
it's
you.
really good exercise and I feel really good about myself afterwards. Yeah.
Now, Erin, there's a style, I think it's plein air, plein air painting. Can you walk us through what on plein air painting looks and feels like? The gear, the conditions, the race against changing light?
Yeah, so plein air painting, essentially, it's a French term and it basically just means painting outside or in the air. And I do that sometimes, not too often, like you said, because like I have big easels and big paintings, so it's a lot of effort. I do it mostly actually, people hire me to paint at weddings. So I will go to wherever their wedding is and paint the landscape in front of us. Or if it's inside, I'll paint based off of a photo. But painting outside, watching the landscape change, the gear that I need to bring. Basically, it's everything I pretty much already have as far as easel and everything. I'll just kind of like tape my canvas to the easel just because it usually gets a little windy. It is more challenging painting outside because when I paint in here in the studio, it's a very controlled environment. Outside, it's windier. I catch a lot of bugs in my art sometimes. And the sky, you really do see it change. I do post several like time lapses of me painting outside, and it is interesting to actually be like, oh wow, the sky really did shift a lot. What it looked like when I started the painting versus when I was done is different, but it's fine. It's just a beautiful experience to be able to paint outside in nature and really get the inspiration right there. I just have to paint a little bit faster.
Especially here in Central Washington.
Yeah, it's windy.
Yeah, it's windy. Now, one other thing that has inspired you, you've said that your art is influenced by faith. How does nature connect with your spirituality?
It plays a huge role in it. Like my background, I guess I would say I grew up in the church, Christian faith, and that was just something that I did as a part of my family. It was like a real belief for me, but it was really solidified once I was like in college, in the real world, and I was faced with a lot of like the reality of life and kind of questioning my beliefs. And as I got into hiking and painting, it was also a simultaneous like spiritual journey, because for me, I can't be outside looking at all these beautiful things and like think that it wasn't created. There isn't a creator. And so being outside and in nature really sharpened my belief in God and that he created this and he loves me and he created me too.
Now, we love the artist who climbs into her own paintings line. How literal does that get for you?
I love to paint places I've actually been. I feel a lot more connected to the artwork when I do that. I try to do that as much as I can. And lately, I also try to really make sure like I get a video of me in the place where I'm hiking so I can show a simultaneous video of me painting it or the finished painting. So I think the artist who climbs into her own paintings is just kind of a catchy thing I made up, but I feel like I really do as much as I can experience the place, even if I experience it after I paint it because someone requested it, then I'm like, well, now I need to go there and I need to hike there and climb into that painting. So they're just tied together. You feel it a little bit more when you paint and hike the same place.
Now, you hike solo often. Sometimes you bring Riley. What does the solitude give you creatively and emotionally?
I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, just with the spiritual aspect of it. I don't necessarily need to hike solo or even love hiking solo. It just is how it is I have a weird schedule and I want to hike, so I just go. Solo hiking isn't necessarily something I'm seeking. It's just the way I get outside. So what does that mean for me? It's the time where I really think and pray, and I think it's so healthy to get outside and get your body moving. I think so much deep thinking happens just as you're doing like the same repetitive thing over and over. You start letting go of all of those things going on in your head, especially if you're out of service. You're just, I'm not on my phone. There's no one around. Maybe my dog is here. But other than that, I am just kind of in that flow state, which is very similar to when you're painting, you're also in a flow state. So I just get a lot of thinking and praying done, and I think it's really healthy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, this is a tough question because I feel like with art, with hiking even, it's hard to pick a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So in this season of 2025, has there been a favorite piece that you have? And if there is, what's the story behind it?
A favorite piece, I think it's just capturing my attention because it's in the room, but I have this black and white piece of black tusk up in BC near Whistler. So over the last few years, I've gotten more into skiing, which, similar to hiking, it's a tool that brings you into cool, beautiful places and you get to experience them in the colder months. So I got a little bit more familiar with the British Columbia Whistler landscape. And what I like about this painting in particular, it plays in several ways with me breaking through the borders, and that's kind of a signature look that I have in most of my paintings. It started with me painting a white border around mountain artwork, and then I accidentally dripped onto the border, and then I was like, well, I guess I better make this work. I was like, actually, that looks amazing and cool. And I didn't plan that, but let's keep doing that. So I've been working on that style over several years. So this black tusk piece reflects like a new way I've been doing that.
Oh, and that's a perfect segue for the next question is not only are you an artist, but you also own Nuwave Gallery here in Ellensburg, Washington. Can you share a little bit about the vision behind Nuwave?
So Nuwave opened about 3 years ago. It's a shared space with Fortuity Cellars tasting room. So my friends who own Fortuity Cellars just outside of Yakima approached me and they asked, hey, are you interested in expanding your art career? And like, of course, my answer was yes. And then they suggested they were thinking of opening a tasting room, probably in Ellensburg. Would I be interested in partnering with them in that space? And I think wine and art is a great combination. You either come in for one or the other, and you are able to enjoy both together. Our joint vision, Fortuity and Nuwave, is to create a community space, a place for people to gather. And so there's lots of seating, there's games. I think in this world, the idea of having a third space is really awesome. A place, not your home, not your office, a place to go and enjoy. And so with Nuwave, my vision is creating that community third space, but also bringing people together through art. So I show my art there whenever I want because I pay the rent, so I can do what I want. But I do bring other artists in there as well. I do open calls for art, so people from all over can apply to show their art there. And I think it's great just to support other artists as well.
I think another great thing that you're doing here in the community is that you're hosting art classes at different venues. How has that been going for you from being the teacher and showing people the love of art that you've been able to enjoy and see it in their pieces?
Teaching classes is something that came about because of Nuwave. People are like, wine, art, are you going to do a paint and sip? And I was like, okay, I just opened, but I guess I'll do that too. And I had never taught before. But my friend helped me develop the watercolor class. So that's mostly what I teach. I don't teach like these huge textured paintings that I do, partially because that is a lot of things to carry. And also I'm like, that's my art that I'm selling. I want to share a fun experience that's light, that brings people together, helps people get together with their friends, give something to do with their hands, but they can walk away just with a smile on their face. So teaching those classes classes. I also teach alcohol ink classes, which are abstract art, basically layering inks with really high concentrated alcohol, like 99+% alcohol. It smells like nail polish, basically. So I teach those 2 types of classes, and it has helped me share my love for both the outdoors and painting. One lesson that I usually teach in those classes, we run through a bunch of different techniques. And one of them, especially with watercolor, is like trying to erase what you've done. And one of the main lessons that I like to share, and it's like one of the reasons why I got into painting, is because it exercises a different part of your brain. For someone who is on the computer all the time, you make a mistake, backspace, delete, whatever, no problem. But with art, like I described in the, oh no, I dripped outside of the border, you have to find a way to fix it. You can't necessarily always erase your mistake. So I think that exercises a part of your brain that we're kind of lazy these days, and we don't really do that often. And I also think that's just a good life lesson of fixing your mistakes. So there's a lot of joy for me that comes with teaching those classes. But again, it's a way for me to connect with people and have fun.
And one great thing that you're doing in 2026 that you just announced on your social media is that you're expanding your community by hosting group trips. How did that come about, and what is the group trip for 2026?
It came about, a company approached me actually, and that I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. Or maybe I knew it was a thing you could do. I didn't think I was the type of person who could do it. But then when it was proposed to me, I was like, maybe I can do that. So I am hosting my first group trip in September of 2026. We're going to Yosemite, Big Sur, Three Rivers, and basically it's like a camping trip where you don't have to bring the tent, bring the food, you bring your clothes or whatever, but everything is included and taken care of. Transportation. It'll just be a group of 8 to 12 people, and it's a great way to meet people. I think for me, a struggle I've had as a 30-something adult, and I work alone. Like, how do you meet people outside of who you knew in high school or college or the office, which I don't have those things anymore. So I want to create a space where people can spend quality time together and cook together, hike together, see beautiful things, take awesome photos. I'll teach some watercolor classes along the way and just have a designated small morning time to be creative, to write, to just think and learn. So those came about from someone, again, bringing something to me, and then I'm taking it to be my own thing. Yeah.
And if folks want to learn more about the trip and sign up, where can they sign up?
Yeah, I have a link on my website, like a banner at the very top. I'll have that banner up until the trip is sold out. So just go to my website, erinostra.com, and it'll be right at the top, or there's a tab that says travel that says all the details.
And we'll be sure to put that in the episode show notes too, so people can check it out. Now, you mentioned in one of your social media posts that Heather Maple Pass is a favorite trail, especially in the North Cascades. Me and Jordan were trying to reach North Cascades.
Did you get there?
No, it was the day that it snowed, like big snowstorm hit.
Yeah.
So we didn't, but you got to catch it.
I got there.
How was that trail? And for folks that never done Heather Maple Pass, how would you describe it?
It is a loop trail, which is fabulous. And I have done it any time of year. I've snowshoed it, and I've also hiked it in the summer and the fall. Yeah, it was probably a little less than a month ago that I was there, right before the larches turned. You could see some needles starting to want to be yellow, but not really. But basically, you kind of climb up onto a ridge and hike around. I love it because I feel like I can take almost anyone there. I think it's kind of well known, even though it's far. So there's always been a lot of people there when I've gone. It's just so beautiful. I think the North Cascades in particular, I think they're called the American Alps. They're just so jagged and wonderful. So you can really see 360-degree views of that for most of the hike. Have you ever done it at all?
Yeah.
Okay, you've done it, just not this year.
2 years ago, and it was past larch season. So
okay.
They were on their way out.
Yeah. I think that area is just so beautiful, and that loop in particular just captures it all well, succinctly. If you need to get home, you can, or you can stay and camp or whatever.
Now, as someone that's done it multiple times, I got to ask, because I've only done it counterclockwise. Have you done it clockwise?
I have only done it clockwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they say, at least on AllTrails, that's like the tougher route.
Yeah, maybe it is tougher. The first time I did it, that's what someone recommended to me because, I guess it's steep going up, but then you're done basically with the climb, it feels like, and you like get to the view right away.
Yeah.
And then going down is just nice and easy. So I know people go the other way, but I've only done clockwise.
Oh, I'll have to check it out next time.
Get the hard stuff done first.
Done and over, and then nice leisurely stuff. Okay.
And you just walk around, take pictures. Yeah.
And if people don't have it on their list, definitely check it out. It is a popular trail, but it's worth the wait, and it's good in all seasons. Now, this next question, Erin's a little tough. For hikers that want to get into art or maybe find a creative outlet, what might they learn from artists, and maybe what can artists learn from hikers?
Yeah, I love this question. I think they're so connected, but they're different. Something that artists can learn from hikers, I would say persistence and resiliency. Being a creative, especially as a full-time professional creative, can have some really high highs and some really low lows. It feels like you're constantly putting yourself out there. You're making something and showing it to the world, and you're kind of like, do you like it? Do you want to buy it so I can make more? And sometimes it's really lucrative and sometimes it's really not. And it unfortunately is a luxury item for the most part. So it's the first thing that people kind of cut out when finances get a little bit tight. So you have to be resilient. You have to keep going and not take it personal. If you're not selling, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not good. It just means not yet. So I think that relates to hiking because you have to keep climbing down. You have to get back to the car. Like, you can't stop. You don't have an option. And then something that hikers can learn from artists, I think just starting. Just like whatever that creative thing is that you want to do, you should just do it. Just start small. Just take a class, watch a YouTube video, get some supplies. Like, it's similar to like maybe you want to dabble in hiking or some other outdoorsy activity. Just do it. Start small. Stop talking about it and just do it.
I love that. Great advice. Now, you've hiked many beautiful places. You've also have done some art pieces of beautiful places that people have commissioned. If you had a magic wand that can transport you to a pristine destination that you've always wanted to go experience and maybe paint, where would you go?
The first thing that came to mind would be the Dolomites in Italy. That's a dream trip for me. Maybe I'll make it happen soon. I think that area would just be really beautiful. And I've already painted it, so it's kind of like already calling me. Like, you gotta do it. Those mountains are so jagged and wonderful. And there's something awesome that Europe offers too, is like a little more huts in the mountains that you can hike to and sleep in. You don't necessarily have to carry a tent everywhere.
Dolomites is an awesome choice. It's definitely high on my bucket list. And those jagged peaks are one of a kind.
Yeah.
Now, when I started this podcast, Erin, it was I was looking for a creative outlet, and I wanted to merge the joy of hiking with talking with other people that enjoyed hiking. For listeners that are looking for that creative spark in whatever outlet that is, what advice would you give somebody who's looking for that outlet that hasn't found it yet?
I guess I would just say start dabbling. I think if you're a creative person, and most people are, whether you think so or not, maybe you just haven't found like the thing that intrigues you the most, just start dabbling. I paint right now, but I think it'd be awesome to make pottery. I just don't have time for it. Or like get into videography, photography more. I just don't have time for it. Maybe your creative outlet is cooking, or I don't know, making social media videos. I think those are all awesome and creative, and just try some things on, and if it doesn't work, try something else.
Now, we like to do a regular segment here on the podcast where we do a deep dive into our guest Instagram. And the one post that caught our attention was the post about Mirror Lake, how that experience years ago felt uneasy, but returning recently brought not just clarity, but joy, and even a message about finishing things you've started. Can you walk us through that day and what that moment meant for you?
Yeah, that was a pretty vulnerable post I did. I don't usually share that much. It was like a video of me swimming in the lake, and then I said something like story below, and then I wrote a whole thing. So that was, I think, in August of this year. I drive back and forth to Seattle. It's about a 2-hour drive from here. And usually when I do that, I try to carve out time to get a hike in, whether that's a quick hike or a longer hike. And I had a little bit more time that day. So I picked a hike. I had my dog with me. I was like, this is going to be great. And then the area felt familiar. There's a trailhead that is along the Pacific Crest Trail. So there's lots of different trails you can pick once you're up there. I had the map downloaded as just by myself. And I looked at the map. All right, I know where I am. This is familiar. And then I didn't get off trail. I was on the trail. I just missed the turn to go where I was intending to go. But it felt really familiar where I was walking. So that's why I didn't think, oh, I should check. I was like, oh, I've been here before. And then I was thinking, last time I was here, it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago before I had my dog. I was living downtown Seattle and I was solo hiking. It was the only time I had ever stopped and turned around on a trail because I felt really uneasy. You know, sometimes you don't know why you feel uneasy. It was raining. It was a weird creek crossing. It was gloomy. It was dark. I was just like, something feels off. I did about half the trail and I turned around. And I was like, I've never done that before, but you just got to listen to your gut sometimes. I was like, that's a bummer, but whatever. So when I realized in August this was the trail that I was on, I was like, all right, I could turn around and do what I intended to do, or I could keep going and see where I end up. So I get to the lake, Mirror Lake. It's beautiful. It's blue. I jump in, I swim. It was a great, great day. I felt very happy. It was a really hot day, so it was actually better that I went to the lake than this peak that I was intending on. And as I was walking back to the car, I was just thinking about that experience and praying. And I feel like God speaks to me, and it's more of an impression on my heart, not really like a voice. But what I heard was, this is a season for you of finishing things that you started, even though sometimes you don't really know that you started something. I'm going to bring it to completion for you. So that was just a really beautiful, encouraging afternoon and day that just really filled my heart.
Glad you were able to go back and finish it and jump in the lake.
Yeah, and unintentionally do it. I didn't even know. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Erin, a lot of our listeners have mentioned that they want to make it to the Pacific Northwest in 2026, especially Washington. If folks want to swing by Nuwave, what's the hours that you're open?
We just changed our hours to winter hours, so they might be a little rough when I say them, but we're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So come on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Rough hours are 12 to 6 or 1 to 7. They kind of shift on the day, but post noon, before 8 roughly is when you can pop by. I have an art show up right now that's all my work. It's called Big Sky, and that'll be up until the end of November. And then starting in December, I'll have a show up called Trailblazer, and that's a group show. Basically, the concept is whatever Trailblazer means to you. So maybe that is a cowboy on a Western landscape. Maybe that is your favorite political figure. You do a portrait of them. Maybe that is an abstract painting depicting trailblazing in some way, and they'll have a little blurb on each title card that says how it relates to the theme. So that's the show that'll be up next.
And then for folks that are listening who want to maybe commission you to do an art piece for them, how can they get a hold of you? And is there any requirements that you need as far as certain landscapes or?
I have a page on my website. It's called Commissions, and that's at the top navigation, so that I lay out what the process is. But basically, just reach out to me, whether it's via email or on the form at the bottom of that page. You tell me what you're looking for, any colors you want, style you want. I have a lot of examples too. I have a whole portfolio on there. So you can see, hey, I like what you did in this painting, or I like a little bit of this, I like the colors of this. So I kind of help build your own custom piece. And if you have any photos of that favorite place, send them, or I can find some reference photos as options. And I list like pricing on there too. So most of the information is just on my website, and commissions are one of my favorite things to do. So don't hesitate to reach out. It's not as hard or as intimidating as you think. And I try to get it done with, depending on my schedule, like within a month of you requesting it. And then you get to kind of like carry a piece of your favorite place in your home forever and pass it down to your kids. Like, it's really fun.
And we'll be sure to put that in the episode show notes so people can check it out. Now, Erin, these last couple questions are questions that we like to ask all our guests. When it comes to hikes, I feel like day hikers and even backpackers have a regular summit routine, or maybe it's an end of the hike routine. For some of us, it's packing our favorite snack or drink. For others, it's a moment of zen. And then for a lot of us, it's that favorite meal afterwards. Is there a regular summit routine or end of the hike routine that you like to do?
I don't have a regular thing that I do. It used to be when I was a weekend hiker with my friends, it was like getting a burger afterwards. But I feel like my schedule is so random now, and I'm usually by myself. So I don't have a regular thing, but maybe one regular tip that I would say, a thing that I do that's not fun but practical, is I empty out my water bladder and then I put it in the freezer. So just in case any drops don't dry up, it doesn't get moldy, it just freezes. So I don't know how many other people do that. My dad used to be a mountaineer, so he told me to do that, and I've been doing it ever since.
I have to try that because that's one of the like hardest things with water bladders is I sometimes
it's not quite dry, or you don't know, or and like that would be gross if you're drinking moldy water. But
I'll try that.
Freezing your bladder.
Now, Erin, this is going to be a two-part question because I'm interested in a regular day hike and then one where you're painting out in nature. When it comes to your pack list, is there a luxury item that you like to take on your day hikes that isn't necessarily luxury as far as like cost-wise, but more something that brings you joy and comfort, but maybe isn't required or an essential item? And then when it does come to your treks with painting, is there a luxury item that you like to take for those?
I like to hike pretty light on my day hikes. Usually my goal is to get exercise, and then the beauty I see is like a bonus. I mean, I'm usually with my dog, so having just a waist leash, I guess, is something that I find really handy. So she can be on her leash if she needs to be, but my hands are free, I guess. That would be that would be my item. But I use that all the time everywhere also. Hiking with painting supplies. Usually when I'm doing that, I'm not going very far because at least the easel I have currently, I do want to upgrade to a different easel. It's really heavy. It's like wood. And I've used it so much and carried it so many places that it's falling apart. Since I'm not usually hiking very far, I have this little rolly cart that I put all of my paints and supplies in. So I can lift it and carry it as far as I need to. But I also can just roll it. Like if it's a boardwalk situation, one time I went and hiked and painted at Artist Point up near Mount Baker. And I mean, of course, I had to paint there.
Yeah. It's an iconic place.
Yes. So I brought my little rolly cart and easel and didn't have to hike in too far to get a really good view.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question is how do you carry your supplies? But
yeah, I just carry them and not too far, and maybe one day I'll have a cooler setup, but for now most of the big paintings are done here.
And I know we're recording this at the tail end of October. Before you know it's going to be the end of the year, but is there anything on the horizon for the last 2 months of 2025 that we should watch out for, as well as anything in 2026 that you'd like to share?
2025 for me, I'll be pretty local. Just with the holidays and owning a business, it's important for me to be present. So I'll be teaching a lot of paint and sip classes in the Ellensburg, Yakima area. I'll do a couple in Seattle also. And those are all listed on my website under the classes tab. This is ski season for me. It's getting into ski season. So I'll be skiing a little bit more or snowshoeing next year, 2026. Obviously, the group trip that I'm hosting is my big thing that I want everybody to come on. So if that sounds interesting to anyone, I would love to have you. Because I started doing these group trips because it was something that I was interested in, and I was poking around looking for a trip I could take more abroad than California. So I actually booked 2 trips for next year so far, and I'll do them kind of side by side. I'm going to be hiking the Tour de Mont Blanc, so going through Italy, Switzerland, and France, backpacking hut to hut with a group that I signed up and paid for. And then also similar, I'm going to go to Albania, to the Albanian Alps, and do a trek there also.
Oh man, that's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
Tour de Mont Blanc has been
huge bucket list item for me. I'm like, I'm tired of waiting. What am I waiting for? Let's go.
And I love the fact that there's a few hills there that you can spend the night, so you don't have to carry as much gear as you would here. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you're hut to hut. And some tours, if you pay extra, they'll carry your stuff for you, or they'll drive it to the next spot if that works out.
And Albania, that just came across my feed recently.
Yeah.
Like, some of their lakes and rivers rival some of the...
It looks so stunning. And I was thinking, like, it looks kind of like Washington. Right. I love it. I better go look.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that. And then again, folks, if you're interested in joining Erin's group adventure in California, check out the episode show notes so you can find more information on it. Erin, these last couple questions are the this or that questions. We're going to give you 2 hiking related topics, and you just choose which one you prefer out of the 2. You're more than welcome to say both, neither, but the first one is, do you prefer summer or fall hiking?
Can I say secret option C, spring?
Oh, yeah.
Ever since I moved to central Washington and have experienced the wildflowers here, it's drier. So you're not in the rain spring. It's dry. It's these arrowleaf balsam roots. They look like little sunflowers and they cover the hills, and it just brings me the most joy. So secret option C, spring.
And now Washington is known for having both of these in spectacular fashion, but if you had to choose, waterfalls or summits?
Summits.
And then in order to reach those summits, would you choose a trail with switchbacks, or would you rather just go straight up?
This definitely depends on like how many switchbacks or how high straight up. I feel like I want to say switchbacks because sometimes on the bigger peaks in particular, you can see the top and the view doesn't change. You're 2 miles hiking straight up and it feels like you've gone nowhere. With switchbacks, it's a little bit easier. So maybe I pick that, but both are hard.
Now, the most controversial one that we have is trek poles or freehand.
Freehand for day hikes, trekking poles for backpacking.
And then when it comes to your footwear, do you prefer trail runners or traditional hiking boots?
Hiking boots, but both work. Both are good. I have both.
And then when it comes to picking trail systems, do you prefer a loop trail or a mountain back trail?
Loop trail.
And then we're in that season where things are a little muddy on our local trails. But if you had to choose between these 2 type of trail hazards, would you choose a muddy trail or a rocky trail?
Rocky trail. And something that I like to do when I'm walking on rocky trails is I like to kind of step intentionally so it hits the different pressure points on my feet. So it's a little massage. You can only do that for so long, then you're like, oh, I'm so over this. But that's why I would pick rocks.
Okay. And then you see both of these in stunning fashion here as well, but sunset hikes or sunrise hikes?
Sunset? Both are good. They have different energies. Like sunrise is like, yeah, I'm amazing. I'm up before everyone. And the day is beginning. Sunset is more like relaxing, beautiful, peaceful. They're both great. I would say sunset.
If you had to choose spring wildflowers or fall colors, what would you go with?
Spring wildflowers.
And then when it comes to either your day hikes or backpacking trips, I feel like over the last 5 years, the electrolytes that are available for folks have gone past Gatorade and Powerade. There's tablets now, there's gels, there's even powders. If you use electrolytes, do you have a preference between tablets or powders or gels?
I do powdered.
And then this one's one of the tough ones, but if you had to choose between bug bites or sunburn, which one would you go with?
Sunburn. Does anyone say bug bites? Sunburn just feels like the easy answer. Bug bites are the worst.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has chosen, to be honest, this season. I think everybody would rather get a sunburn.
Yeah, I tan well, so I'll take it.
Now, you have encountered both of these in Washington, but if you had to choose between a stream crossing or a snowfield traverse, which one would you go with?
If I am prepared, a snowfield. I have post-hold through snowfields, and that is like doing lunges endlessly, so it sucks. But stream crossings can be really terrifying. So, yeah, snowfield.
And then when it comes to your backpacking trips, I'm interested, are you an ultralight backpacker or do you like taking luxury items?
I like luxury items. The longest backpacking trip was 5 days that I did. And I learned from that, maybe I don't need so many luxury items. I haven't done long enough of a hike to feel like I need to be ultralight. I like my chair. I like my snacks. I want it to be fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that was it for the this or that questions. For folks that are interested in learning more about not just your hiking adventures, but also your art, your studio, and the upcoming trip, where are some of the best places they can follow you online and on social media?
Yeah, so my website is erinostra.com. My social media handle on Instagram and TikTok is Erinostra, ERINOOSTRA. And I post a lot, both places, so you can see all the updates and links and everything there.
And we'll be sure to put those in the episode show notes so you can check them out. Erin, it has been amazing speaking with you, and I can't wait to see what 2025 closes out for you and what 2026 brings for you. But really appreciate you taking out the time of your day to speak with us and inviting us into your studio.
Yeah, thanks for coming. That's great.
And that brings us to the end of this episode alongside Erin. We extend a heartfelt thanks to them for joining us on the podcast. Be sure to follow them on Instagram at Erinostra. That's ERINOOSTRA. And for more, be sure to check out the episode show notes. This episode of Hikes and Mics was produced by Jordan Smith. Be sure to follow her adventures on Instagram at jordan.journeys. New episodes will drop every Monday throughout the fall hiking season, with occasional Friday bonus episodes sprinkled in. To make sure you never miss a moment of these inspiring trail stories, hit the follow or subscribe button. Your support truly keeps this community growing. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Hikes and Mics. That's where you'll find behind-the-scenes episode visuals, my own hiking adventures, and plenty more to keep the fall inspiration flowing. As we wrap up today's journey, remember, the trails may be covered in leaves, but the spirit of adventure is wide open. So tread those happy trails, breathe in that crisp autumn air, and keep exploring. Until next time, my fellow hikers, happy hiking. This episode's music was created by Ketsa. Follow him on Instagram at Ketsa Music. This episode is brought to you by Ursa Minor Outfitters. Folks, I'm absolutely in love with my loon mug. It's handmade, it's an absolute piece of art. Whether it's at the office or at the house, people keep asking to check it out. If you're not a loon fan, they also have other beautiful mugs for wildlife fans of moose, bears, and eagles. They specialize in products highlighting the outdoors and local pride through quality design by local artists. They've even started expanding into items beyond mugs, like apparel, dog accessories, and soon candles and more. They also try to partner and highlight other small businesses, and in some cases, forego profits in lieu of charitable giving to help their community, such as the dog rescue. So check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for our four-legged hiking partners, they also have a portable silicone dog bowl and also a sweet over-the-collar dog bandana. Go check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and don't forget to enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order.